Coming up, the spirit of Leonard Cohen lives on in a show at Ipswich Civic Centre, and the winners announced in the 2022 Ipswich Sports Awards. It's Wednesday, November 9, 2022, and I'm Alan Roebuck. Welcome to Ipswich Today, which acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which it is produced and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. This podcast is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. If I mention the name Leonard Cohen, his most famous song, Hallelujah, should immediately spring to mind. Cohen died in his sleep on November 7, 2016. Leonard Cohen's spirit and music lives on through a biographical cabaret and is brought to life in story, poetry and song by Jonathon Anstock and his live band. Thank you for speaking with Ipswich Today, Jonathon.
Lovely to be with you, Alan.
Before we get to your Spirit of Leonard Cohen show, where did the music journey begin for you?
Oh, wow, what a question. I just had I told someone today I was on the telly when I was 11 years of age back in Scotland. So it goes back to a little skiffle band that I was in, little kids making their own instruments and that sort of stuff. Television came to town, and I had the audacity to walk up to the Grampian television studios and say, "Excuse me, would you like a skiffle band on your telly?" And funnily enough, that went and happened.
Was that based in Aberdeen when you did that?
Yeah, Aberdeen, Scotland is where I was brought up.
Your musical journey after the television, obviously growing into a young adult, and you were attracted to Leonard Cohen's music at quite a young age. Well,
there was a bit between the 11-year appearance on TV and Cohen. But when I was one of these singer folk songers in the UK, singing lots of protest songs and loving singing. And it was, when his first album was released, 68, I think it was, and I was introduced to it. I mean, I just fell in love instantly with some of his work, probably being a melancholic soul. And the song Suzanne was like anybody who could play the guitar at that stage, many of us were going, that's the song, Suzanne.
So it was the lyrics that attracted you, his style, the music?
It's very hard to put a finger on this because a lot of his music is influenced from the Judaic stream with minor songs, melancholic keys, which obviously I love, passion there. But it was the pictures that he created in your mind about what was this song really all about. Meeting this woman, Suzanne, going down by the harbour, her, feeding him tea and oranges all the way from China. And it had this lilt, it had romance, and the absolute passion in there of the tension between male and female, which I think most of us can relate to. Touching somebody's perfect body with your mind. I mean, the fantasies that brings up for everybody. What is that between the feminine and the masculine and the tensions that live there? He built these amazing pictures, and so many people just totally connect with it because that's our reality. That song was just absolutely sensational, and that started his singing career.
Over a period of time, his work has become more known, more popular. And before chatting to you today, Jonathon, I thought I'd just do a quick look on the top 40 charts in Australia over the years. He did not score a top 40 chart, which is interesting in itself. And you've obviously studied his life very closely, the music, the spirituality and the politics. What else about his life attracted you to his music?
His commentary. People in the music industry or the arts manage to express things that touches people's souls that you possibly can't, say out in the public arena easily. He became very spiritually oriented, To have a conversation about religion is not one of the easiest things. We're brought up when we're young to say, one thing, don't fall into the trap of having a conversation about religion or politics. It's a trap. So he and many, many artists, and this is why, my greatest teachers have come through the musical realms. They were saying things that touched people, that, were able to get away with it because it was put into this artistic realm. And Leonard's commentaries, for instance, on the journey of life, not just for us as individuals now, but the journey of life for humanity and where we are actually going with a concept, for instance, of democracy. I mean, we're all wrangling with it. What on earth is democracy? And, you listen to his song, Democracy is Coming to the USA, and he gives some pointers in there that gets people really, really thinking and considering. So this is what I love about his latter work. He went from taking the tension between the masculine and the feminine and love, and his journey in that story is phenomenal. But then to take into the political arena and the religious arena all these questions that live in so many people's souls, I just love it because I feel so connected to the man.
He certainly kept himself below the mainstream radar and out of the media, but he did allow himself to be interviewed a couple of times. And again, yes, very, very deep interviews that probably wouldn't get airtime today, but interesting to go back and look on YouTube. Have you seen him perform live at any time?
Yes, 100%. I mean, I took the opportunity when I moved up here to the Sunshine Coast in 2010. I think it was 2013, I have to double check, but I went and saw him.
I think you're right.
In Brisbane. I think he did 2 concerts there. His final concert, and this is an interesting one too, his final concert on his final world tour, which went on for about 5 years, I might add, because one of his relationships with another female who was his business manager, apparently there's about $10 to $13 million disappeared. So he had to get back on the road to actually go and live his life and have some money. But his final world concert was actually in Auckland. So we were lucky to see him. I was very lucky to see him in Brisbane. And honestly, I was absolutely in my element. Surprisingly enough, the song that I came away with that night, out of so many songs, was a song sung by Sharon Robinson, his co-worker at that time. Just absolutely melted me to shreds. It's a song called Alexandra Leaving, which is featured in our show. Looking
at your YouTube clip, Jonathon, it's uncanny the look and the feel you bring to the performance. It's like you really are channeling Leonard Cohen. In a New York Times obituary in 2016, it stated that Leonard Cohen wrote songs that addressed language oblique and telling themes of love and faith, despair and exaltation, solitude and connection, and it goes on and on. How much of each do you bring to your show?
I'm just there. I'm just there with my story. My story of life mirrors his a bit, quite a lot actually. I'm in my element performing Leonard Cohen. I feel, if there's such a thing as destiny, I feel I need to be doing that now. I need to be keeping the soul and spirit of Leonard alive. And I just adore his work so much. It's like a coming together for me at this time in my life. I'm 72, and I'm going to be doing Cohen and keeping his soul and spirit alive until I can't do it anymore.
What keeps you performing? You started to tell me there, but what gets you out of bed and motivates you?
That's one of the hardest of questions. Why do people enjoy their art so much? And it was a question asked of someone the other day. His wife was wondering. She asked me. She said, "My husband wants to keep performing. What's this all about?" I'm going, well, in actual fact, it's just one of those things. I don't know. One has to. as a performer, be very, very cautious of this ego thing. And I went through a midlife event, sort of really dealing with my soul and this ego and trying to, be something maybe that I wasn't. So this questioning came in, but it's something that I feel I need to do because the great teachers come through the arts. I alluded to that earlier.
Yes.
And I think, I've been a teacher in my life. That's been my main aspect of my life's work. And I feel I'm actually being a little bit of a teacher with what I'm bringing onto the stage just now. And I think that's just a continuation of who I am. I'm just think there's something really worth listening to and learning from the show. And that's why I tell all the stories between the songs, and so many people just connect with it because we are human, and this is a human story.
Your show is coming to the Ipswich Civic Centre on Saturday the 26th of November, a 7 p.m. start. Who else joined you on stage?
Oh, a magnificent team. Blessed, absolutely blessed. Our musical director is Janet Brewer. Her husband, and she plays double keyboards. I mean, look at the dots she looks at and how she plays music. I just can't get. She plays double keyboards. I mean, I'm in awe of these people. Her husband is a bassist, but he's actually a classical trumpeter, and they're having a great time because they've branched out from their classical bassist. I have an amazing guitarist now who is actually become the technical production man for the show, called Adrian Alexander. And on drums, we've got a man of immense ability who's drummed all over the world, and that's Duncan McQueen. And then on top of that, two beautiful female backing singers who are mirroring to a certain extent to the amazing Webb sisters who were on the show with Leonard Cohen.
Jonathon Anstock, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. All the best with the show at the Ipswich Civic Centre on the 26th. The tickets are on sale now on the Civic Centre's website. And thank you again for speaking with Ipswich Today.
Alan, it's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Local sporting legends and rising stars from both on and off the field were recognised at the 2022 Ipswich Sports Awards held last week. Senior Sportsperson of the Year went to Jade Lally, while Volunteer of the Year was awarded to the one and only Rita Langer. Junior Sportsperson of the Year, Holly Ann Jackson, and Senior Sportsperson of the Year, Jade Lally, will have their names and sport permanently displayed on the honour board at the North Ipswich Reserve Corporate Centre. The 2022 Ipswich Sports Awards were held at the Corporate Centre on November 4, and the winners of each category received $2,000 in prize money. The Ipswich community nominated 95 sportspeople, volunteer administrators and teams this year, representing sports as varied as athletics, Australian rules football, baseball, BMX, cricket, cycling, soccer, hockey, karting, martial arts, netball, rugby league, rugby union, softball, swimming, trampolining and weightlifting. Ipswich is home to more than 150 sport and recreation clubs, 200 facilities, fields, courts, tracks and clubhouses, 55 council-owned sporting facilities and 100 seasonal sporting permits. And a reminder to look for handy links in the show notes. Ipswich Today is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. This podcast is also listener-supported. Please make a once-only gift or regular donation to help keep it online. Just go to ipswichtoday.com.au and click the donate button on the homepage to make a payment through PayPal. Follow and stream this podcast from your favourite app, including iHeartRadio and Amazon Music, or play Ipswich Today on smart speakers. Music is supplied by Purple Planet Music. This is Alan Roebuck. Thank you for listening.